Good morning, guys. Dr. Chris Stanley here, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Health and Wellness Coach. I'm bringing you this drive cast from my right hand today. I had my phone in my hands-free holder, and the sun is just doing something wicked this morning. I must have gotten away a little earlier than I typically do. I had some pretty bad glare, so I'm just going to kind of hold this while I'm driving. Rest assured, I'm in very slow traffic and paying very close attention to the cars around me. So today's drivecast is what kind of old person do you want to be? And I don't know how much time you guys spend thinking about that, but we're all aging, and if we're lucky enough, we may make it to a ripe old age of 70, 80, 90, 100 even, right? So the idea is, how functional do you want to be when you're old? What kind of physical shape do you want to be in? What kind of mental shape do you want to be in? And this topic came about from what I see day to day in my job. I work in what's called a skilled nursing facility. So it's not really a nursing home. Ideally, it's supposed to be a place where people come to rehab, maybe either to then go home to live independently, or to maybe a group home or an alternate long-term care facility. There's people in here with strokes, severe dementia, confusion, brain injury, all kinds of stuff, and my job is to kind of help get them back to some level of function. Now, when I was working as an outpatient orthopedic PT in Austin, Texas, I got a lot of older people in, total hips, total knees, neck pain, low back pain, hip pain, you name it. And in my interview process, when I was getting information from them, learning about their condition, I would say, well, when did this start? How long has this been going on? And I got a lot of responses along the lines of, yeah, well, this is just, I'm getting old, and getting old as hell, don't do it, and all this. I don't subscribe to that mentality. Just because you get old does not mean you automatically have to break down. Now, obviously, we don't do things at the level that we when we're old that we do when we're young. I just turned 40. I don't think I'm going to go try out for the Houston Dynamo MLS team anytime soon, but I can still keep up pretty well. So the idea is, how functional do you want to be? And old people's function, the people who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, a lot of people like to blame their condition on their age, when really it's a product, a culmination of all the decisions that they've made in their life. And I know there's outlying stuff. Like I said, I've treated people who have had brain injuries. We had a guy that got hit in the head with a 2x4 and had a brain injury, and his function, mental and physical, is affected significantly for the rest of his life. I'm not talking about those kind of accidents, those things that happen. I'm talking about the natural breakdown as a result of the decisions that people make, the things they eat, the exercise that they get or don't get, the sleep that they get or don't get, that kind of stuff. And so one of the things that I found very interesting when I was treating patients is that people like to blame their condition on things that they can't control, right? So of all the things in our lives, the one thing that we cannot control, nobody can. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how smart you are. You cannot control time. You can't speed it up or slow it down. You can't stop your birthday from coming around on the exact same day the next year. Actually, the only way you can stop your birthday from coming is if you die. You're not here anymore. So we don't have control over our age and how fast it happens. So people love to blame their condition on their age, because it takes all the responsibility out of their hands. And you guys know me, I'm all about people taking responsibility for their lives, for their condition, and owning it. And so I used to really get agitated with that statement, and as I became a little wiser, I guess, I stopped getting agitated and started very gently addressing that as, like, we have control over the condition that we're in, in a very large part, right? And so I encourage people to take responsibility to become the old person that they want to be. So when I was working in Austin, Texas, a lot of my patients would ask me, well, what are you training for? You look like you're really fit and you exercise a lot, and are you doing a race, or are you doing a competition or something? And my answer was was always, I'm training for old age. I'm training to be a badass old person. I want to be 95 years old, still getting my own mail, mowing my own grass, chopping wood or whatever I'm doing, fly fishing, enjoying life. I've got a picture that I posted on Facebook. It's a picture, one of my workout pictures, and it says, you know, I work out now so that I can, later in life, I can live life instead of fighting death. And I think a lot of people, as they age, the aging process to them is just fighting off death. They're heavily medicated for cholesterol and diabetes and all this stuff. Instead of trying to live a better life, a healthier life, they're just fighting death. And it's really pretty sad to see when an old person can't go get their own mail, they can't go to the restroom by themselves. Everybody at the facility where I work at, they're not toileting themselves, and it's, you know, it's tough to watch, it's tough to see, and I'm sure that it's embarrassing for them, for the ones that are, you know, have the cognition to understand what's going on. So the purpose of this podcast is I want you to think about, you know, exercise and eating well and nutrition and all these things that I kind of are my platform topics. You know, how you look is certainly, yeah, that can be a motivator for a lot of people, but think beyond that. Think beyond, you know, how you're going to look in your swimsuit this summer. Think beyond, you want to be able to fit into some clothes that you haven't been able to fit in for a while. Even think beyond just, hey, I want to get off this blood pressure medication. That's at least headed in the right direction. But think about, what kind of old person do you want to be, and what kind of life do you want to live? So my goal is, I want to live a completely active, fulfilling life as an old person. You guys may have noticed on Facebook, Allison and I took a trip to Lake Tahoe a few weekends ago, and we stayed at this little bed and breakfast. And one of the evenings, they had like a little happy hour with some wine, and they have an outdoor fire pit. And so we ended up around that fire pit. And there were a couple old guys out there, and you know, they were in their 70s, and one of the guys, it was his birthday, and his brother, this is the guy that I met, his name is Ken, and Ken lives in Colorado, and Ken builds houses. Like, he's not the guy out there telling his guys what to do. He literally is out there framing houses himself. He does manual labor. He's 76 years old. And so we're sitting around the fire, and I'm talking to Ken, and he said, yeah, I drove here from Colorado to surprise my brother Steve for his birthday. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. And he said that he stopped in Nevada on his way from Colorado to climb a 10,000 foot peak. There's some peak, and I forget the name of it, I apologize, but there's a peak in Nevada. And so he camped there in Nevada. He climbed that peak the next morning, climbed back down, got in his car, and continued his drive to Lake Tahoe, where he met up with his brother. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What are you guys doing for Steve's birthday? What's your plan for tomorrow? He's like, we're climbing Mount Tallac, which is a peak right outside of Tahoe. And I don't know what the total elevation is of that peak, but it has 3,300 or maybe 3,500 feet of elevation gain. And what that means for you non-hikers is it's steep, and it's pretty much straight up. And so I was just blown away. I was like, dude, you're 70, you just climbed a 10,000 foot peak yesterday, and then, or actually that was the same day, that was that day, and then tomorrow you're gonna climb another peak that has over 3,300 feet of elevation gain. I was like, that's insane. And you know, so I got to asking him, like, what's your secret? What is it that you're doing? And he walks every day. He does strength training and eats well. And I think he mentioned he pays attention to his sleep as well. So that is a great example of somebody who's making decisions, and he's getting to reap the benefits of that. So I'm here to tell you guys, you know, getting old does not mean that you have to sit back and just whatever falls in your lap, you just have to deal with it. You get to drive that. You get to decide where you end up as an old person and how functional you are. Do you have dementia or not? I'm not going to get into the science behind that right now, but just suffice it to say that this is not a roll the dice, you know, bet and hope you win kind of disease. We are doing things that cause dementia, because there are plenty of 90-something-year-olds out there that are sharp as a tack, and then I've met 50-year-olds who are already starting to, you know, to suffer mentally with dementia and Alzheimer's type symptoms. So you guys, when it comes down to should you exercise or not, should you try to improve your nutrition, should you try to improve your sleep, think about the person that you're going to be when you're 70, 80, 90 years old, and then see if that changes your decision to try to do something with your health and fitness. All right, guys, that's what I want you to think about today. What kind of old person do you want to be? Hope you guys have a great Monday, and as always, message me if you have any questions. Please share this with anyone and everyone that you hope becomes an old person, and yeah, hopefully that, you know, we can open up some discussion and get some people thinking about some stuff. All right, have a great week. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.